Go.
Just quickly, when we're done, I need 2 group photographs. If you have read so far, when we're done at the end, I want all of those people to come up first, and I'll get a group picture, and then the people who are going to read the second half will take theirs second. And I'll be quiet now and let the reading continue.
So that means we are halfway through. At least. And I don't know what our time is, but we're doing good, I think. Okay. It really always works really well on a poetry reading when you tell the readers, this is what I want you to do, and they all do it. It's amazing what a difference that makes in a reading. So we're not hearing love stories. Well, I should shut up. Okay. Let's bring up one of Austin's poets and musicians, Joe Blanda, and he's in the week of April 19th.
All right.
Thank you. So my poems are thematically related. They both have the word big in the title. This is the first one. It's from the calendar. It's called Big River Blues. All that disturbs the river of night, tiny yellow flowers of starlight. All that disturbs the river of night, tiny yellow flowers of starlight. Big Daddy Strange. Big Daddy Strange lives in Waxahachie, fortunate in his friendships. The sun and the moon, the lion and the bull. Keeps a handle on the future by going back in time to see how they did it then. Maybe make a few changes so that once again resettled in the good old here and now, where happiness is best pursued, he can embrace those changes that keep him free to do it.
And also from Austin, Bruce McCandless, and he is in the week of the May overview. It's got the little calendar of May. Bruce? I'm amazed I haven't gotten a sliver yet.
Thank you, everybody. This is called May, fittingly enough. Young sparrows spill from streetlight poles to conquer avenue trees, and seagulls circle mallard shoals, slow rolling in the breeze. The dandelions have lost their heads, the dogs trade Lancelot smiles, the clovers holding special sales, and bees jam all the aisles. September seemed too tired to talk. October mourned all day. December warned us not to laugh. At last, my love, we may. So I've been working on a long poem. It's an attempt to write an epic poem about a battle during World War II, and to combine sort of the lingo of that day and age from the 1940s. Because I'm not clever enough to do that all the time, I went ahead and just stole some lines from Allen Ginsberg and stuck them in here, and that's not really theft. It's just admiration. But, you'll notice them, I'm sure. This is chapter 8. It's called Marine, You Die. Through subterfuge, the Marines took a piece of a tiny island called Guadalcanal. Mosquito mast, choked with weed and snakevine, and have been paying for it since. The Emperor's men came nightly screaming through the jungle, vowing death to the Mongol Republic for the impertinence of standing up against the gods and the gods' pure warrior race. Just as at the hot gates the Persian sent forth his legions to crash against the swords of the Spartans, so now did the Japanese general send his men to win or die. Their leathernecks dug deep in mud as doom crashed down upon them. Infantry attacks, storm flowers dropped from the sky, long-range fire shells pumped in from floating fortresses offshore. Under-provisioned, gasping with fever, these men held no reverence for self-proclaimed divinity. These were unlockers of lug nuts, hard guys mostly, knuckleheads and working stiffs, practitioners of the pot scrub and the East Side hustle. They were Utah boys raised on incredible sunlight and sons of Ohio and the massive foundries there that sipped from holy Cuyahoga. Also fast-talking Bronx men, angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of night, desperate for a cancer stick and a cup of joe, garish in their prominent clavicles. They were stubborn, restless, unwilling to die, but too proud to be dislodged. The warrior chief Vandegrift ordered all to hold the field, and so they did, slack-jawed, subterranean, venturing forth only when the fire rain ceased and the screams came quickly toward them again. Marine, you die. Then the machine gun shattered its mechanical area, barrel sizzling in the rain, and the Emperor's men went to meet their silent ancestors in dark worlds where no timepiece runs.
Let's head on back to Houston and bring up Sani Stromberg, and she's the week of August 16th. Sandy?
I'm going to break the rules and tell just a tiny story. Because one of the beauties of David and Scott, I told this at Blue Willow when we read in Houston, is that if they see potential in your poem, they come back to you and they work with you on it. And that's just such a gift. And as Scott said in this one, I had an entrance ramp onto the freeway when I just needed to be on the freeway. So.
Some of you have heard that before. From me.
But it's a gift. It really is. Gang of Seven. They fold and refold their feathers, these fierce beasts of medieval altarpieces, raise blood-red heads from scrawny necks, and look down on me. Something near must smell of death. Farther down the path, I sight a small gray mass tangled in cypress roots. I linger on the path, not wanting to take the image into my eyes, my mind. My friend investigates. They've eaten their fill, he says. Now it's time for the others. And now I can tell you what Scott really said, is get to the meat of the poem. And because he was kind enough to fit me in, I think I'm the last one he let in. I have just a very small poem. The word in it that you might not be familiar is acedia, which means sloth. It was one of the 7 deadly sins. And this just appeared in the fall issue of Ilya's Honey. Days, as in D-A-Z-E. Days. Sunlight slices through veined cobwebs. The pen lies barren. Acedia rules the garden. Tulips swung their inquisitive necks. Why this face, this table, this room? If inspiration is an underground rivulet, give me a forked stick. Let it vibrate.
Before Sandy sits down, I want her to tell you about the wonderful anthology she is presently in the midst of editing that is still looking for submissions. So
Yes.
I'll let her tell you.
No, thank you, Scott. I didn't want to grab
No,
that.
that's all right.
Yeah.
This is the audience that would like to hear that.
Yes, that's great. Mutabilis Press, I hope, is there anyone here not familiar with Mutabilis Press? Okay, it's a poetry press in Houston. It's spelled M-U-T-A-B-I-L-I-S. If you're a naturalist, you may know that's a type of rose. I didn't. So you can go onto the website of Mutablos Press. We are doing an anthology. We've done 3 in the past 9 years, and this is the next one. And the theme is Houston nature, but it is nature in all of its aspects. You know, both human nature and the nature of Mother Nature. The ethnicities, the wildlife, everything around Houston and the Houston area. So the deadline is not till March 31st. So you still have a good 3.5 months to write your poems, and the guidelines are on the website. And it's all through Submittable, the same way you submitted to the Texas Poetry Calendar, which I spent the summer learning, and David was a great help on that one. So, thank you, Scott.
In fact, if you're having any problems with the Submittable, when you're doing your Texas Poetry Calendar submissions, which are open right now for 2016, give David a buzz. He's an expert at it.
Oh, I've been helping several people. I'm always kind of amused that there are still poets who don't know how to put 3 poems on 3 different pages of a document, but I can tell you how to do that. Anyway, and since Scott brought up the submissions, most of you know this already, but our new editors, we have new editors taking over the Texas Poetry Calendar from this point on. Wade Martin and Allyson, where you... Submissions opened several weeks ago. I forgot what date exactly, but we are happy
November
to say
1st.
that Wade and Allyson are so eager and so excited that they are reading the few submissions that have come in. They're really excited about this. Deadline is, I think, February 20th. Send poems. We want the calendar to continue to be the kind of calendar it's turned into, and Wade and Allyson are ready to make that happen.
And speaking of Allyson Whipple, let's bring her up next. Her poem is the week of August 9th.
Thank you. August 9th. Whittled by wind, shaped by water. One day you might find yourself in a canyon, the Rio Grande so low you could wade across to caress Mexico. In the photos, nobody would know which side was which unless they'd stood there too. The canyon is just a halved heart, and you might decide to touch both sections, or you might not want to risk the laws waiting, hiding at the borders. And tomorrow I'm getting my black belt in Kung Fu. So I am reading a Kung Fu poem. It's called Rules for Taking a Punch. You need to let yourself get hit a few times so you can see it's not so bad, or so you can see how bad it really is. No amount of patting will save you, nor will learning how to fall, roll, lessen the impact. All that does is lessen the damage, but no matter how strong you become, you still feel it. Don't close your eyes. Let it happen. Accept your fate. This would be the part of the poem where I tell you that getting punched is a metaphor for whatever you're surviving, but you probably already knew that, didn't you?